Okay, now that we've finished part 1 of cross-hatching, we're going to do part 2 of cross-hatching. Part 2 consists of 2 copies from the handout, and the handout's under here, and I'm going to show you the handout. There's the cross-hatching handout. I'm going to show you what that consists of. And what I did is I went through magazines and the internet, and I found examples of other artists cross-hatching. And I think one of the best ways of learning cross-hatching is by following what other established artists have done. So you're going to learn their techniques, and you're going to create some of your own techniques. You're going to put things together, and you're going to come up with your own style of cross-hatching. So there are going to be 2 copies from the handout, which I'm going to show you. Then one from a photograph of your choice. So you're going to choose a photograph that you want to do a cross-hatch drawing from. And it needs to be a photograph of something real. So it's like, not Bart Simpson, that's a cartoon. Not your favorite video game character, because that's probably artwork. We need a live photograph. Now, you can always take a photograph of something like your favorite dog, your pet, your favorite whatever, with your cell phone, and do a drawing from that. You don't have to find a picture of something that you like. You might find a picture of a sailboat in a magazine, and you want to do a cross-hatch drawing of the sailboat out in the waves in the ocean. That's what that means, is finding a photograph of your choice. All right, so we always normally pass this handout to everyone at every table. Cross-hatching is a technique for creating value with ink. This technique came about as a way of mass-producing art in a book after the printing press was invented. Wood block cuts were used in the printing process. Lines were cut into the smooth surface of the wood. Once the design was complete, ink was placed on the surface and then wiped off. Except for the ink that was inside those lines that are cut into the surface of the wood. The paper was placed on top of the wooden block, and then pressure from the printing press was pushed down with a piece of cloth, and then that ink that was trapped inside those cut lines was lifted up on the paper. So now you have a way of creating artwork inside the printed, they had all these letters cut out that they would line up, that would print over and over again with the same technique of the ink and then the pressure. Values created with cross-hatching by using straight lines next to each other. The more and the closer together, the darker the value, the further the lines are apart, the lighter the value. We talked about that with the value scale. The assignment is, and we've told you, you're going to do 2 copies from the handout, and then you're going to create your own original cross-hatch drawing composition from a photograph. Here's some examples here. This is the correct cross-hatching. They would have started off with a pencil line really lightly to show them where they were going to stop all their value. This is incorrect. This is that scribble back and forth, and you see these loops at the end, so it doesn't look like cross-hatching. This more emulates the way cross-hatching was done when they had to cut lines out of a metal plate or into a piece of wood. They were cutting straight. They weren't able to scratch back and forth like this. Some more indication. Again, I personally, you'll see a lot of artists will use some lines like this. I would like for you to do that later on. I would like for you to use pencil lines, and then that pencil line can be erased. And this is a softer, easier way to transition your value from one color or one value to the next value without having this hard line, because this line is going in a different direction than all of your cross-hatching. This is a better look. Out of these 2, it's not that it's incorrect, this is more correct and better. And then if you have to draw lines in there later on, that's a style thing. But this really is the best looking cross-hatching. So in the handout, I went through and I found pictures. This is the goblet. And at any time, if this is what you want to draw, you just push pause and you look at your screen and you do a sketch of this and then draw it. This was a political cartoon. This is, I think this is one from one of the bodybuilding magazines, and a lot of people tend to like this. If you find something like that, you can see he's got lines drawn in there. They're not all stippled. There's some stippling done in there. So a different style and technique. People seem to like to draw the bird. This is a still life. It's a group of kitchen items, a basket, some fruit, maybe some containers. And again, you can go on and find any kind of photographs of whatever you wanted to, cross-hatching examples, maybe that you want to draw cars. So find some examples of on the internet, type in crosshatch ink drawing of cars, and you click on images and see what comes up. You may find something, do some research, and draw what you want to draw. Draw what you want to draw. So in the handout, one of the handouts, there was a picture of an elephant that we found, and this is the artist's recreation of what was in one of the other handouts. Here's one of the bodybuilders that was in one of the handouts. There was the other bodybuilder. That's why on the front of the handouts it says pairs or sets, one from each set. So, and this is the photograph. There's a photograph, and here is a crosshatch drawing done from this photograph. This is a photo. This isn't Bart Simpson, or this is not an anime character. This is a real person. So when you're doing your drawing, this all started off as being a pencil drawing, lightly penciling the jawline with the lips and nose, everything in pencil, and then the ink was gone on top, and then after the ink is dried, you erase the pencil line so that they're not showing. So if you have all three of those pieces, then you will have successfully completed part 2 of crosshatching. The part 1 is a grade, part 2 is a second grade.